video is not quite around romanticizing our lives, but I do think it's a very important video, so I wanted to get it done and put it out there. So there has been a lot of talk recently around mental health and depression and all things related, and of course along with that you get a lot of the messages and tweets and memes and everything else about checking in on your friend, checking on your strong friend, and so on and so forth, which is great. You know, it's always good to check in on your friends, but I imagine that it's not always easy. I imagine it can get quite a bit frustrating when you are checking in with somebody, seeing that they're struggling, trying to get them to talk to you, and it's just not happening. So let me start off by saying that even if the person is not speaking to you, even if you try these things and they don't work for you, keep checking in on your friend. It matters. It helps. That person knows that you care, they know that you're checking in on them, and that counts, right? So the first thing that I would suggest, which I feel like it goes without saying, is be genuine. If you're not in the space to check in on somebody, if you don't really want to, if, I don't know, whatever the case may be, if it's not genuine, you don't have to do it. So don't feel like because you see all the memes and all the posts about checking in, you have to do it right now. If you're not in the space to do it, maybe suggest to another friend, like, hey, you know, could you check in on so and so? But be genuine about it whenever you're going to check in on somebody, especially if it is that you really want them to actually talk to you. Be genuine and be in the space for talking to them. Next thing is be gentle about it. Don't just run in on the person like, hey, what happened to you? What's wrong with you? Talk to me. Like all that aggression, as much as it may be coming from a good place, most times it doesn't help, especially if you're dealing with somebody who has some form of anxiety like me. Like, I immediately start to shut down. Please just be gentle when you're approaching people. If you really want to get somebody to actually talk to you about what's going on, maybe show some kind of affection, you know, sit and hug the person, touch them. Drawing breaks here to note that this is about talking to your friend. Please do not walk up and hug on strangers or touch on strangers or people you know don't like to be touched. You know, hey, I see that you're going through a tough time. Do you want to talk about it? Things like that, but have a gentle approach to it. Don't just storm in on the person and attack them because you want them to talk to you. And then even when you have the gentle approach and you're genuine, you have to be patient. Know that your friend may not always be in the space to talk. Sometimes you're not even clear on what's going on, what to say. You know, you want to talk, but where do you start? What do you say? That can be a little tricky sometimes. So just be patient with the person. It may require some sitting in silence. I understand that sometimes it can be frustrating, but try your best to exercise a little bit of patience, or a lot if it's required. And then know that it's going to take time. If you don't have the time to check in on your friend, just don't do it. If you only have a minute or two, again, I suggest that sending a quick message just to let somebody know that you're thinking of them, but not necessarily doing a checking where you're prompting somebody to actually talk to you, because there's very few things worse than starting to talk to somebody and they're checking their watch and you can tell that they're ready to go, or you're pulling them away from something, or you know, you're talking to somebody by text but they're really busy, they can't really respond, you're talking into the wind. Yeah, just, you know, make the time if you actually want your friend to really talk to you. And the next thing that I'd suggest, if you really want somebody to talk to you, and I think this probably would work in any circumstance, is to share your own story, right? If you open up to somebody, that person is more likely to open up to you. So if you're talking to a friend, or you're sitting with a friend who you think is depressed or going through a hard time, and they're not talking to you, maybe you want to be like, hey, you know, like, I understand last month this was happening, last year I went through this, or whatever the case may be, but share your own story And that will have the person, one, not feel like they're alone and you don't understand and nobody knows what's going on. Also, it's easier to share your secret with somebody who's shared their secrets with you. Like, that's just common sense, right? So yeah, if you want your friend to talk to you, you might consider sharing a little bit of your own struggles, to kind of prompt them to open up. And the final thing that I want to suggest, and this is a super important thing for the person who's checking in, don't get caught up in your friend's emotions. So I understand, like, it can be hard seeing somebody be extremely depressed, especially if you're witnessing them at like the peak of a depressive episode. It can be really rough to witness. It's sometimes messy and teary and dirty and stressful, and they're angry and they're sad, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of emotion happening there. It's important to not get caught up in that. I know that that can be hard for some people to witness it and not get lost in it, but it does not help your friend and it doesn't encourage them to open up to you if you get lost and then you're also sad and you're also depressed. That does not mean that you can't show emotion. It doesn't mean that you can't cry with your friend or feel sad for your friend. What it does mean is that you have to kind of find a way to regulate yourself, remind yourself that they are the one experiencing this, not you, so you don't get lost and then you're feeling down and depressed as well. Remind yourself to hold space for them, breathe, regulate your own emotions, allow them to experience what they're experiencing without really taking it on. Right? I think that's super important. It's important for you because you don't want to go and fall into depression yourself because of that. And it's important for your friend because they don't want to feel like an additional burden, or like they've now made you depressed or ruined your day or whatever the case may be. That's not going to help them. So you want to empathize and you want to let them know that you understand and you feel it for them, but you don't want to get lost in it with them. Okay guys, so those are my tips today for getting your friend to talk to you. I do hope that they help you in checking on your friend. Please do check on your friends. Have real conversations about what's going on, about your feelings. Share your own stories. Be patient, but be persistent. If you realize that somebody is depressed or going through a rough time, be gentle with them, be kind, be patient. Please guys, don't forget to be kind to people. You don't know who's depressed. You don't know who's struggling and not saying it. You don't know what people are experiencing. So just be kind. Please let me know what you think of this video in the comments down below. Please like the video, share the video, and if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button.